Hi guys, I hope you all are doing good. Today I want to share some really good tips and tricks for the Xiaomi 12 users. Before I start the tips and tricks, make sure that you have hit the subscribe button and like this video if you find it good enough at some point. Also, remember that these tips and tricks are actually nothing new. If you are an existing Xiaomi Mi user or you have ever used a Xiaomi phone before, you will find a lot of these tips and tricks familiar, but do not mind that because this video is solely meant for the new Xiaomi users. Okay, so let's start it off with the most common trick that all of you need to know: how to take a screenshot on your Xiaomi 12. There are two ways to capture a normal screenshot. You can either swipe your fingers on the screen like this and the phone will capture a screenshot, as you can see, and if the page is scrollable, you will get the option to scroll as well. The other way to capture a screenshot is by pressing and holding volume down and the power button at the same time. I really found a nice feature in the Xiaomi 12. You can take a partial screenshot as well. The partial screenshot basically allows you to select a certain area on the screen that you want to bring in your screenshot. To take a partial screenshot, you have to tap the screen using your three fingers like this, and you can see that I now have the option to select an area that I want to bring inside the partial screenshot. We have the start over, share, edit and save options, right? And we can also select a different shape for cropping the screen using these options on the top. Since we are talking about a screenshot, it would make sense to talk about the screen recorder as well. The inbuilt screen recorder can be accessed by going into the toggles on the top here. You can see the screen recorder right here. Pressing the button will start the screen recording. By tapping this red button, you can actually start the recording, and we have the files button here, which takes you to the recorded screens and the settings for the screen recorder. You can change the resolution, video quality, orientation, sound source, and a few other options are given inside the screen recorder settings to enhance your experience. Alright, let's take a look into the home settings of the phone. Long press an empty area on the home and go to the settings. On the top, we have the transition effects for the screens here: crossfade, tumble, page. Just choose the one that you like. We'll go into the settings once again, and here you have some other options: the home screen layout, fill cells of uninstalled apps, and lock the home screen layout. Inside the more settings, the second option on the top is to select whether you want to use the phone with the application drawer or without the drawer. By default, your phone will be using the classic menu, but you can enable the application drawer by coming into the screen, and this is how the application drawer looks on the phone. Now you can also customize this application drawer further. Let me show you how you can do that. You will have to go to the home screen settings once again by long pressing an empty area on the screen, and inside the home screen's app drawer settings, you have the backgrounds. This is actually the background of the application drawer. You can make it 100% transparent if you want. And now let me show you how it looks like. You can see that it looks really cool with this transparent background. You can set the opacity of this background according to your own liking. Next to the app drawer, we have the option to disable the Google Discover. If you don't want the Google Discover to pop up every time you swipe towards the extreme right, you can just disable it from here to have a cleaner screen. Next up are the system navigation buttons. You can change it to gestures if you want to have a nice full screen display on the screen, and you can also hide this gesture to enjoy a more full screen UI on your Xiaomi 12. You can see that this is how the entire screen looks now. I really like this. If you choose to stick to the buttons, you can actually change the orientation of buttons. You can mirror the buttons. You can see that the back key goes here, and you can also change the button shortcuts within the same settings of the system navigation. Right here inside these settings, we do have the icon size and the home screen layout. You can change the icon size, or you can change the layout to 5:6 to fit more icons into one screen. The last option that I would like to highlight in these settings is the show memory status. This is the status of your RAM that is shown inside the recent applications panel on the top right corner. 4 gigs of 8 gigs is available right now. If you just want to keep a track of your RAM's usage, you can enable this option and keep looking at it there. Let's just take a look at the Blurr App Previews as well. It will actually blur the previews of the applications opened in the recent applications panel. You can select which applications preview do you want to blur while you are taking a look on that application in the recent applications panel. You can see that by default the camera application was selected there, and now if I go to the recent applications, the preview of the camera application is blurred, as you can see right here. Let's take a look at the toggles now. You can see that we have a load of toggles inside the screen. How to add or remove new toggles into the screen? Well, you can click on the edit toggles button appearing right here, and now you can drag and drop the toggles between these two screens to add or remove the toggles. Inside the toggles we have the dark mode. The dark mode darkens everything on the phone and it looks really cool. And we do have the scanner here as well. You can scan documents, QR codes, pretty much anything on the go using the scanner given in the toggles. We have the cast, the Mi Share, the floating windows, and a lot of other really nice and useful features in the toggles. I suggest exploring the toggles. Okay, let's get into the settings of the Xiaomi 12 now. Well, inside the settings, I would like to start it off with the always on display. On the flagship devices like the Xiaomi 12, you do not have the time limit for the always on display. You can actually go to the always on display and go to the display items, and you can select whether you want to show it for 5 seconds upon tapping always, or you want to schedule it. You can customize the always on display the way you want. You have a lot of templates, the predefined templates, or you can also create your own template using a custom image, custom icons, and custom clock style. Within the always on display and the lock screen settings, we have this double tap to wake or turn off the screen when the device is locked. I suggest keeping it on, and the raise to wake up, it can be turned on as well, so that whenever you pick your phone up, it automatically wakes up. And we have the Wallpaper Carousel here. It changes the wallpaper every time you press the power button of your phone, and you see a really nice set of wallpapers on your phone every now and then. As you can see that every time I power off and power on the phone using the power button, it shows me a new wallpaper. Let's take a look into the display settings of the phone now. Inside the display settings, go to the refresh rate, and here you can see that we have the default recommended mode, which automatically sets the refresh rate dynamically based on the scenarios to balance the performance with the power consumption. Let's take a look at the notifications and control center. Okay, first off, if you want to change the control center to the old version of the MIUI, you can do so from here. You can see that it is now the old version of the control center. But if you just like the new iOS-like style, you can keep using the new version instead. Inside these settings, we also have the status bar settings. You can show the notification icons if you want, show the connection speed here if you want, edit the carrier name, you can set a custom name for the carrier, battery percentage indicator inside the battery icon or outside the battery icon, or no percentage icon at all. You can hide the notch entirely, or you can hide the notch inside the individual applications based on your liking. This phone has a very powerful equalizer as well. For that you will have to go to the sound and vibration settings, and at the bottom you have the sound effects, and inside these settings you have the graphic equalizer. You can select the equalizer according to your own requirements, and I suggest turning off the Dolby Atmos when your phone is connected to your Bluetooth audio system. Let's take a look at the biometrics and security settings as well inside the password and security. Okay, it is highly likely that you are going to set up the fingerprint scanner of your phone while setting it up, and you are likely going to ignore the face unlock. I suggest turning on the face unlock along with the fingerprint scanner, so that if your hands are busy, the face ID unlock will let you unlock the phone. And if you go further into the settings of the fingerprint unlock, you can actually change the animation for the fingerprint scanner. You can see that we have 4 different animations given here inside the fingerprint settings of the phone. Next up, we will take a look into the app settings. Inside the app settings, we have the dual apps. The dual apps will basically let you install another instance of a social networking application like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, or many other applications. You can use 2 accounts of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat at the same time in the same phone. If you want to use 2 WhatsApp numbers, you can install a dual instance of WhatsApp and have 2 numbers running at the same time. The apps that support dual apps are shown inside this menu once you want to enable the dual apps. We do have a native app lock in this phone. It's a really nice feature because most users end up using a third-party app lock which are not secure applications. So if you want to use an app lock, the native app lock is there inside the Xiaomi 12, and you should definitely use this one instead. We have the additional settings next. Inside the additional settings, first of all, I suggest turning on the ignore accidental touch on the edges, because this is a phone with a curved display and you should definitely turn this option on. to keep the phone away from the accidental touches. Inside the gesture shortcuts, I have already shown you how to use a partial screenshot, but there is another useful feature, the back tap. You can double tap the back or triple tap the back to perform a certain action on your phone. You can see that we have these options: take a screenshot, control center, notification shade, launch camera, calculator, silent mode, or get the issue related logs. For example, I want to tap the back of my phone to launch the control center. You can see that now if I tap the back of my phone, okay guys, the back tap really doesn't work. I don't know how to make it work. If you guys have got the back tap working on your phone, let me know in the comment section down below. I think it's a bug in this phone. The back tap is not enabled. Okay, inside the additional settings, we do have the one-handed mode as well. The one-handed mode is useful if you want to use the phone with one hand, but this is a really small and handy phone. I don't think so that you will need the one-handed mode, but if you still do so, you can enable it from the additional settings on your Xiaomi 12. We have the Beautify for video calls. It's a really good feature. You can beautify the camera for the WeChat video calls. WeChat is the only application supported at the moment, but if this feature supports any other application, that application's name will also appear here. It's just a nice way to add filters or fix the issues in your live video calls when you are on the WeChat application. We do have the memory extension as well. You can add up to 3 gigs of RAM by occupying the storage of your phone. By default, this phone has 8 gigs of RAM, but if you need additional RAM, you can extend it using these options. Let's now take a look at the special features of the Xiaomi 12. First of all is the sidebar of the phone. The sidebar appears here. It allows you to launch applications using a shortcut. Let me show you. You have all the application icons here, and you can launch any application using this shortcut given here. We have the front camera assistant. The front camera assistant will give you a couple of options to control your phone's front camera when you are using it, and it also works with the Beautify for video calls feature when you are in a live video call. Floating windows will let you use any opened application in a floating menu, and just like this icon shows here, you can drag that small floating window anywhere on the screen of your phone. The second space will let you launch another private instance of your phone inside the phone, where you can install the applications and store your private files and photos to keep away from the users who would touch your phone otherwise in the main menu. The light mode will enlarge the text, icons, and it will lessen the visual clutter on the screen to make things easy for you if you have any sort of visual impairment. And lastly, my favorite feature is the heart rate. Well, you can monitor your heart rate by long pressing the fingerprint scanner of your phone after you have turned on the heart rate tracker on your Xiaomi 12. You can see that it's telling me my live heart rate. I'm supposed to keep quiet while measuring my heart rate, and you can see that there is a big fluctuation here because I am speaking for this tips and tricks video right now. But this is how you can monitor your heart rate using your Xiaomi 12. I love this feature of this phone. Let me now quickly show you some tips and tricks for the camera application as well. Okay, the camera application will welcome you with this nice photo mode. This phone has a 50 megapixels camera, but how to access that mode? Well, you will go to the more options here, and here you can see the 50 megapixels option, night mode, and a lot of other options. But what if you want to bring this 50 megapixels from the more options to the camera tray? Well, you can edit this panel by clicking on this edit button appearing right here and drag and drop the 50 megapixels next to portrait. If you also want to move the night mode to this window, drag and drop the night mode here, and now you will have these options appearing in the camera tray. Let me show you. Now you have 50 megapixels here next to the portrait mode of your phone. The 50 megapixels mode will let you capture highly detailed and big in size images that you can edit or crop in as much as you want. You can edit these camera options further. Let me show you. You can change the camera modes, the more tab or more panel if you want, and then you can also change the accent colors of the camera application. And lastly, you can manage the sounds, the camera sounds on the Xiaomi 12. Another thing to keep in mind is that the Xiaomi 12 is a very capable device, and it can record up to 8K at 24 frames per second videos. For that, you will go to the resolution options inside the videos and select 8K, and you can record the videos here. Otherwise, you can also record the 4K at 60 or 30 frames per second videos on your Xiaomi 12. Inside the Pro mode of this phone, you also get the RAW feature. If you want to capture the photographs that you want to edit in post-processing, I suggest turning on the RAW capture mode and capture the images in the Pro mode of the Xiaomi 12. Let me also show you the settings panel of this phone. Inside the settings, the very first option is to turn on the watermark. You can turn on the device watermark or add a custom watermark as well, and also add a timestamp on the photos. And this is your look on the other options inside the settings application. That's all with the Xiaomi 12 tips and tricks. I hope you guys found this video useful. If you have any other tips and tricks to share with other Xiaomi 12 users, make sure to drop them in the comment section down below. If you guys found this video useful, hit the like button and subscribe as well. With that being said, I will sign off and see you all in the next one.